Yesterday, I explained that I'm going to long Bitcoin if it drops any further, and I actually just did that, I think, about 12 hours ago. I want to keep this video quite simple and actually give you what am I expecting on Bitcoin right now, how I'm gonna manage this trade, and where Bitcoin is going in the next couple of hours. So watch this video till the end right now, guys, because Bitcoin is right now under the most important resistance and support flip zone, as you can see, which is 113.1. I've explained that Bitcoin has been or was actually very bullish, guys, when we've been talking about how Bitcoin, since breaking out of 113.1, that Bitcoin's target is technically $120,000. We've explained how we are looking at Bitcoin from the perspective of the volume profile pool, and that Bitcoin is actually targeting 120 as long as we are holding onto 113.1 as its support. However, what happened yesterday is we had our biggest actually day of liquidations over on Bitcoin since the beginning of this year, and we actually saw Bitcoin lose the most critical and important support line, which is 113.1. And I've said that if we do not reclaim this line, the target of $120,000 is actually officially, to be honest, cancelled. So right now we are not going to be targeting 120 as long as Bitcoin is under the 113.1 line. However, yesterday I also explained why and how am I going to be exactly longing Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin was looking like that. Bitcoin was sitting just right under the 113.1. However, we also had this huge wick, as you can see. If I go to the 5-minute time frame and then remove the drawings, you can clearly see that we've got this huge wick over on this 5-minute candle. I think this wick alone by itself is actually worth $1,000. I think from 112.5 down to 111.6. So I had the idea that I said that always Bitcoin likes to fill these wicks down, guys, and I've explained that we can technically view this wick as technically a gap that Bitcoin likes to go back into SFB, take liquidity from it, and then we can get into a nice long trade. So I actually shared this video idea, and as you can see, this is basically the idea that I've shared in my last video. Make sure to always, guys, to subscribe and always hit the notification bell, because the content I'm giving you guys is daily content. However, it's very sensitive to time, guys, so you need to make sure that you are subscribed, and also make sure that you've got the notification bell turned on over onto my channel, because this is basically the idea I've had. I've explained that I'm going to be waiting for lower prices to come on Bitcoin, fill the wick, SFP, or take liquidity, go under, fake out the wick, and then go above it for a nice reaction of a bounce, and then for us to get a nice long trade over on Bitcoin that might start as a scalp. However, it could actually turn into a much nicer idea, and as you can see, basically this is exactly what happened over on Bitcoin. I was waiting for that. I had the notification turned on over on TradingView at this level, and then once I saw the SFB taking liquidity, going under that level and then reclaiming it, I took a nice long over on Bitcoin, which is I'm still holding right now to this point. However, I took take profit 1 at the resistance line, because as you can see, Bitcoin right now is retesting it and is falling down a bit. So technically I'm into my longs. If Bitcoin manages to finally break out of 113.1, I'm going to be holding onto my scalp long and maybe turning it into a swing long trade on Bitcoin, because if we actually manage to get back above 113, then we can actually think about this as a whole SFB or a whole fake out of this line, and then maybe target $120,000 again. However, say Bitcoin right now goes back down and hits my stop loss. My current stop loss is actually at break even. So if we see a drop back down to my entry at 11.8, I think we can actually hit the stop loss, nothing wrong with that, and actually being out with a small profit, and then maybe look into a nicer other long trades. The next long trade, say Bitcoin right now hits my stop loss at my entry, then maybe we can also look for another SFB, another fake out of the low we've got. So maybe this is an idea of a scalp if it happens, or the better idea would be actually waiting for much lower. If we lose 111.250, I'm gonna be waiting for the 110 to 109.9 level mark for my next long. So either SFB this again, if we see a drop, this could be a new long, a scalp long, if you missed the one I've got into already, or we can actually wait for a much longer drop and then get into this nicer long trade. This is only based or in case Bitcoin drops back. However, I'm still holding into my longs in case Bitcoin finally decides to break 113, and then for us to go and become actually bullish once again. Thanks for watching, guys.